Namaskar, hello and welcome to Sunset TV. I'm Tina Jha. You're watching Perspective, the show where we get you a 360-degree view on a subject of current significance. Today, we are going to analyze the employment scenario in India. The government is setting up a committee to frame India's first national employment policy. The aim is to significantly increase and create more jobs in the country. The policy will take into account the jobs that are expected to be created under the production-linked incentive, the PLI scheme, across a dozen sectors. It will also account for the rising number of gig workforce and platform workers in the country. Last year, a group of ministers led by former Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Thawar Chand Gehlot had suggested a sectoral roadmap with incentives for employment generation under this new policy. The renewed focus on the country's first national employment policy, of course, comes after the COVID-19 pandemic that took away millions of jobs, raising the overall unemployment rate. However, there has been some respite. The service sector is showing signs of revival, with jobs in IT and BPO sector clocking a growth of more than 150% in April to June this year. There is also good news from the transport, health and construction sector on the employment front. But the hospitality sector is still under pressure. Jobs in restaurant businesses have declined by 13%. India Inc. is hiring, but the question is it hiring enough? Are we close to the pre-pandemic employment levels? What should be done in the new employment policy to save the labor force from getting impacted from COVID-like situations? In Perspective today, we will discuss the employment scenario in the country, and to discuss all of these aspects as well related to the employment sector in this country, I have with me in the studio today Mr. Girish Arya. He is National Secretary, the BMS. Welcome, sir, to Sunset TV. And joining us virtually on the program are Mr. Shankar Agarwal, former Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Employment, and Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, immediate former President, the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Welcome, gentlemen, to Sunset TV. Mr. Shankar Agarwal, allow me to begin the program today with you. Well, so the government is in the process of setting up a committee that will draft the country's first employment policy. To begin with, help us and our viewers understand what is the need of having such a policy and what are going to be the objectives of this much touted policy.
You see, a policy is required to work as a catalyst. Unless there is a catalyst, the growth may be there, but that will be only a marginal growth. If you want to have a quantum jump in the growth, it is necessary that there should be a policy which would work as a catalyst. That will motivate large number of entrepreneurs to set up small and medium, even large enterprises, so that employment opportunities can be created, number one. Number two, we got to create an ecosystem so that the jobs are created across areas and across sector, so that people should be able to get employment in the vicinity of their domicile. These are the twin objectives, and once we do that, there will be huge and expected growth in the employment area.
Okay. Mr. Arya, so obviously the need was being felt of having a national employment policy for several years. Now the vision is being realized. What are the kind of expectations that the union had from the national employment policy, and do you see that happening now that the vision is being realized?
स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्ष पूरे होने के बाद पहली बार देश के अंदर जो मांग भारतीय मजदूर संघ की तरफ से बहुत लंबे समय से चली आ रही थी, आज ये वर्तमान गवर्नमेंट उसको एड्रेस करने जा रही है, तो पहले तो हम इसका स्वागत करते हैं। अभी तक जो भी पॉलिसी बनी वो इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी बनी, लेबर पॉलिसी या एम्प्लॉयमेंट पॉलिसी नहीं बनी, उस पर चर्चा भी नहीं हुई। तो अभी होता क्या है कि जब बड़े उद्योग बनते हैं तो कैपिटल इंटेंसिव उद्योग अभी तक बने, जिसमें वर्कर की योजना उसकी आवश्यकता के अनुसार थी। यदि लेबर इंटेंसिव इंडस्ट्री होगी तो लेबर की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से प्रोडक्शन होगा, और प्रोडक्शन को जो है मार्केट में जो है परचेज किया जाएगा, परचेजिंग पावर बनेगी और इकोनॉमी आगे बढ़ेगी। मगर यहाँ पर क्या है कि अभी भी अगर आप देखें तो एमएसएमई और एग्रीकल्चर, इसमें ही अभी भी सबसे ज़्यादा वर्कफोर्स है जो कि एंगेज्ड है, मगर बड़ी बड़ी इंडस्ट्रीज़ में उतनी वर्कफोर्स इन्वॉल्व नहीं है। हमारा देश एक बहुत बड़ी जनसंख्या वाला देश है, तो इसमें जब तक लेबर इंटेंसिव हम इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं लगाएंगे तब तक जो है ये देश का हमारे का उद्धार नहीं होगा। अभी इस सरकार ने इसको लाने की कोशिश की है तो हम इसका स्वागत करते हैं, और हम ये बात करते हैं कि केवल ये जो है बातें जो अभी तक होती आई हवा हवाई, वो हवा हवाई नहीं है। इस पर जो है गवर्नमेंट ने बाकायदे इम्प्लीमेंटेशन भी किया है। अभी 26 अगस्त को ई श्रम पोर्टल का लॉन्च हुआ, और मैं बताता हूँ कि इस देश का मजदूर कितना जागरूक है कि मात्र 2-2.5 महीने के अंदर आज का जो डेटा है वो 8 करोड़ और 35 लाख वर्कर्स ने उस ई श्रम पोर्टल में रजिस्ट्रेशन कर दिया है। और उस ई श्रम पोर्टल में रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के माध्यम से हमको 400 से अधिक ट्रेड ऐसे मालूम पड़ गए हैं, स्किल्स ऐसी मालूम पड़ गई हैं कि इतने लोगों ने किया है। इसके अलावा ये तो एक फैक्टर हो गया, लेबर ब्यूरो के 4 सर्वे चल रहे हैं। उन 4 सर्वेज में 100 से ज़्यादा जानकारियां जो है वर्कर्स की निकल कर आ रही हैं। तो इस देश के अंदर आम आदमी क्या स्किल रखता है, इसकी सारी जानकारी निकल कर आएगी, और जब वो मैदान में आएगी और वो इंडस्ट्रीज में उनको यूटिलाइज किया जाएगा तो निश्चित रूप से इस देश की दिशा और दशा दोनों बदलने वाले हैं। और जो पेंडेमिक की बात आपने कही है वो पूरा विश्व भुगत रहा है, हम भी भुगत रहे हैं, मगर अच्छी व्यवस्था के कारण और देश के नागरिकों के सहयोग के कारण हम उस पेंडेमिक की समस्या से भी बहुत तेज़ी से निकल रहे हैं। जैसे आपने अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क में कहा भी, तो हम बहुत जल्दी हम निकलेंगे। भारतीयों की विल पावर बहुत स्ट्रांग है, हमारी इम्यूनिटी बहुत स्ट्रांग है।
बिल्कुल, और
हर चीज
इसी रेजिलियंस की बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी कही है। यही दैट हैज बीन द रिन्यूड फोकस एंड दैट इज वेयर क्रिएशन ऑफ जॉब्स बिकम्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। मिस्टर संजय Agarwal, because it comes amid the uncertainties, amid the challenges posed by the pandemic, what are the critical aspects that the national employment policy must look into?
You see, firstly, I would say that the very fact that the nation has faced a lot of challenges and problems in the past year, I would say at least 18 months, and it's going to be a different way forward compared to the way we used to live and work in the past. I think this is even more appropriate to now make sure that we come out with a national employment policy at the earliest. Mr. Shankar Agarwal has already given an explanation of what all are the expectations, and which I totally agree with. And in addition, what Girish Aryaji has also said, I agree that we have to find a way forward in which we look after the welfare of the employee, those who are getting employed. At the same time, we have to make sure that we are able to provide employment. Now, these are twin objectives which must go hand in hand. And neither of these objectives can be lost sight of. If there is a situation where we increase the number of jobs but do not look after the basic rights and expectations of our workmen, that would absolutely not be appropriate or acceptable. And at the same time, to have a regime where the incentive to create employment itself is put into question is also should be avoided, and that is the right balance which a national employment policy should hope to achieve. Of course, the issue of skilling is very important. As a person who belongs to industry, what we find is that on the one hand we see that there is unemployment, but on the other hand, whenever we need to employ people, we barely find candidates who are up to the task. That is always a problem. And I think the new education policy, which is now giving so much focus on skilling, I think that hopefully should also be, in some manner, dovetailed with this national employment policy that this committee is going to make. We ultimately need to make sure that the basic interest of the economy, of the workman, of the employee or the prospective employee is served by maximization of job creation.
Absolutely.
And there is no doubt at all that it is the MSME, which is going to be the main creator of these jobs. The large enterprises already they are organized, they have a certain number of jobs, and they also tend to grow in a certain fashion, which is also good. But there is a much larger number of, I think it is the ratio of jobs that are there between urbanized and unorganized sector. I think it's more than 1:5. So the MSMEs need to be encouraged with progressive policies which provide employable persons, employable youngsters, male and female both, to the industry, and for the employer to follow a certain set of basic rules and guidelines to ensure the welfare of the workers.
Certainly, and hopefully the employment policy will address all of these needs. Mr. Shankar Agarwal, if we look at the current employment scenario in the country, all of us know world over the employment scenario has been severely impacted by the COVID pandemic. And in India too, the employment scenario hasn't been great enough, particularly after the second wave in May, June. But there have been slight signs of recovery. But if we look at the important sectors, Mr. Sanjay Agarwal mentioned MSME as the core generator of employment, but otherwise, which are the other sectors that need hand-holding, which have not been able to, show recovery as quickly as the others? Particularly if we talk about the service sector, the growth hasn't been good enough. And this affects employment and in turn the economy.
Absolutely, ma'am. As you have already said in your opening remark, one of the biggest area is hospitality. Small dhabas, small restaurants, and even a little bigger kind of restaurants and eating joints. These enterprises give employment opportunity to the local guys. If you go to, say, Mussoorie or to Nainital or to even Banaras, there are large number of such dhabas and the restaurants which cater to the needs of the tourists. With medium level skills, we can set up these kinds of enterprises. Like you have got large number of institutions in the country which are imparting education and the skill in the area of hospitality. That means hotel management and the culinary kind of thing. These can be opened with a very moderate level of funding. And once you do that, they will be able to engage a large number of local guys, skilled, semi-skilled, and even unskilled. What is required for this? We must bring them out of a regulatory regime. Today, for every small dhaba, you got to have large number of NOCs from the food inspector, from the local municipal inspector, and things like that. I personally feel that they should be exempted from all these NOCs. They should be given some kind of a fiscal incentive also, so that immediately they will start functioning and they'll give employment opportunity. Second big area is the food processing. Earlier, the food processing was not going ahead, primarily because of the limitation of the distribution network. Now, with the IT, you have got large number of players like Zomato and Big Basket and things like that. If you have got a good quality product, these products can be picked up by these large entities and these can be distributed to large number of consumers. I just give you a small example. Large number of people go in for chivda, but most of the chivda today is nothing but a process in big machines. And it takes away a lot of nutrient value of chivda. If you go for the hand-eaten chivda, it will retain large number, huge quantities of huge nutrients. So what I'm trying to say that if we encourage food processing, because the food processing will take place in smaller towns, maybe in even rural area, these can be packaged beautifully by a specialized agency, and then it can be picked up by Amazon and Big Basket and all such agencies. Third area, again, which require only moderate level of skills and moderate level of funding, is electrical goods like cables, like switches, like plugs, and these kinds of things. Today, if you go to the market, most of these products are coming from China. These can be, these manufacturing facilities can be set up in small places with a little bit of quality assurance, we can get a very good market and large number of jobs can be created. And finally, we must go in for smart products also. Many times I feel that why don't we go in for sensor devices, like a light with a sensor or a whole lot of other things. It's a huge market for sensors today. It does not require much of a skill. It does not require much of a knowledge. With a little bit of knowledge, this can be set up, and especially for places like Jammu and Kashmir, this can be done easily, and it can give employment opportunity to a large number of people. And then one more area which can give a lot of employment opportunity is furniture. I went to China. Today, if you go to a place called Fushan in China, which is supplying almost to 90% of the five-star hotels all over the world. And if you go, a huge number of people are working in different facets of furniture manufacturing. A lot of things can be done within the country because India is a big market, number one. Number two, large number of laborers and semi-skilled laborers are available. With a little bit of extra training, additional training, they can be skilled beautifully and then they can be employed. And we, not only for the domestic market, even for the export market, we can make use of this facility.
Absolutely. Mr. Arya, do you agree with the points that Mr. Shankar Agarwal has made, particularly with regard to incentives and the skill set that you spoke about earlier?
मैं संजय जी और शंकर जी दोनों के विचारों से बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ, मगर एक चीज़ ऐड करना चाहता हूँ कि भारत जो है एक ऐसा देश है कि यदि उसकी परंपरागत जो इंडस्ट्रीज़ हैं, क्लस्टर्स हैं, यदि हमने उनको टूटने से रोक दिया हो, जैसे कि मैं एग्जांपल के रूप में देता हूँ कि अलीगढ़ में ताले बनते थे, फिरोजाबाद में चूड़ियाँ बनती थी, कांच का काम होता था। पूरे देश के अंदर हर तरह के काम होते हैं और हमारे जो है वो कोई स्किल्ड वर्कर नहीं है, मगर उसके बावजूद भी वो सब काम करते थे। तो यदि जो है उनको दोबारा से स्ट्रेंथन किया जाए तो एक तो उससे माइग्रेशन की प्रॉब्लम ख़त्म हो जाएगी, पलायन की प्रॉब्लम ख़त्म हो जाएगी, और जो अपने ही स्थान पर रह करके वो अपना रोजगार अर्जित कर सकते हैं। अब रही बात इसकी कि MSME यदि उसको प्रमोट किया जाए, अभी सरकार जो है जो लेकर आ रही है, मैं ट्रेड यूनियन फील्ड से हूँ, चूँकि भारतीय मजदूर संघ रेस्पॉन्सिव कॉपरेशन की थ्योरी पर काम करता है, सरकार अच्छा काम करती है देश के हित में तो हम उसका समर्थन करते हैं, और अगर काम इंडस्ट्री के विरोध करता है तो हम अपोज करते हैं। तो इस पॉलिसी का हम इसलिए भी कर रहे हैं कि ये केवल जो है इसको इलेक्शन को पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में रख करके नहीं कर रहे हैं, बल्कि एक जो है इन्होंने ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स की वो की है जैसा आपने बताया था, और साथ में जो है सेंट्रल बोर्ड फॉर वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग एजुकेशन बोर्ड का भी गठन कर रहे हैं ताकि लोगों को स्किल्ड बनाया जा सके। और इस देश में जो है सारे लोग मनरेगा में नहीं लगेंगे, उन लोगों को जो है इस देश के जो वर्कर की या इंसान की जो फितरत है वो कमा करके खाने की है, मुफ्त में लेकर के खाने की नहीं है कि आपको मुफ्त में चावल दे दिया, मुफ्त में वो दे दिया, वो एक मजबूरी है। यदि उनको काम दिया जाएगा तो कमा करके खाने में उसको आत्मसम्मान होता है, उसको भीख में लेकर के जो है या मुफ्त में लेकर के उसको आत्मसंतोष नहीं होता है। तो भारत के भारतीयता में ही ये समाया हुआ है कि हम मेहनत करके कमा के खाना चाहते हैं, उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलनी चाहिए। सरकार की घोषणाएं करने से नहीं होगा। मेरा केवल निवेदन है आपके चैनल के माध्यम से कि सरकार की इंटेंशन पर हमको कोई शक नहीं है, सरकार इसको ज़मीनी स्तर पर लाने के लिए बहुत समय से लग रही है, स्किल इंडिया के नाम से, मेक इन इंडिया के नाम से। और जो है इस देश की जनता ने ये भी दिखा दिया है कि अभी दिवाली गई है, दिवाली पर लोगों ने दुकानों पर जाकर के पूछा ये चाइनीज तो नहीं है, वो फ्री में भी दे रहा था तो नहीं ली।
और कई तरह के एफर्ट्स किए गए हैं
हाँ, तो
सरकार द्वारा। वोकल फॉर लोकल का जो नारा भी दिया गया है
तो,
वो इसी उसमें है कि हमारे जो छोटे वर्कर्स हैं उनको मजबूत किया जाए। बट मिस्टर संजय अग्रवाल, द रोल ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री इन पर्टिकुलरली गिविंग अ फिलिप टू दिस entire campaign, vocal for local, strengthening the other sectors. In addition to the government efforts, there are huge expectations from the industry. So how is the industry going to, take care of the current unemployment scenario, so which takes care of creation of jobs, at the same time strengthening the local small-scale workers?
Tina, let me just reaffirm that industry is forever anxious, willing and wanting to to increase its size, and for that, what is the first requirement is manpower, employment, and every industry wants to grow. Every businessman wants to increase his business. So even if we do not talk of any, let us say, higher objectives, but even the immediate objective for any person is to maximize his business. So from that point of view, I think the industry will be not only willing, they will be eagerly willing to do everything they can to increase their business. Now the other aspect comes as to the policies. I think there has been a very positive, receptivity on the part of the government to listen to the suggestions of the industry on various fronts. And I think always, of course, there has to be a balance of a person making a request and the person deciding. But whatever it is, ultimately, as a chamber, we understand, as Girishji said, as a labor union, they understand. As Shankar Agarwal ji being the administrator, we all understand we have to look at the balance. And a balance is what we need. But within this balance, I think there are a lot of suggestions. For example, the PLI scheme has come out of the suggestions of the industry that we had been giving to the government for quite a long time. And I personally believe that PLI scheme is going to be a huge fillip to the Indian economy and even to the employment in our country, because the sort of industries that now we are going to revive and to develop we were not able to work, we were not able to grow in those industries at all. It's only the PLI scheme which is going to now enable us to set up those capacities and employ those people who would require these jobs. So there are going to be a lot of other factors in which we have to also see where there is a dumping happening, where there is one major issue has been that there is a lot of manipulation involved in imports from countries like China, where the problem is that the finished good is supposed to be billed at 100, if the actual price is 100, they might be billing it at 10 or 15, and then there are adopting dubious means to transfer the rest of the money, and that saves them a huge amount of customs duties. The Indian MSME or the Indian manufacturer, unfortunately, is buying all his raw materials on the basis of the customs duties that are added on to by the primary producers. If an Indian manufacturer, MSME factory needs plastic, it needs paper, it needs copper, it needs anything, he is going to buy everything at the imported price plus custom duty from the primary producer. Now, a lot of this manipulation, I think, needs to be addressed, because that is affecting the labor. As Girish Acharya ji said, भाई वो जो पतली वाली तार जो दिवाली की लड़ी आ रही है, वो चाइना की तो नहीं है, मैं नहीं खरीदूंगा. उसमें ना खरीदने में ये तो भारत की पब्लिक कर रही है, तो बहुत बड़ी बात है. लेकिन सरकार को भी कुछ रास्ते ढूंढने पड़ेंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि ये हिंदुस्तान की एम्प्लॉयमेंट को डायरेक्टली हिट कर रहे हैं और हिंदुस्तान का रेवेन्यू भी खा रहे हैं. जब इस तरह का प्रोडक्ट आता है हमारे देश में, लोकल प्रोडक्ट बन नहीं पाता, लोकल एम्प्लॉयमेंट हो नहीं पाती, और उसके साथ जो है हम लोग अपनी फॉरेन एक्सचेंज और खोते हैं. इस तरह की कई चीजें हैं जो इंडस्ट्री डे टू डे सजेशंस देती रहती है गवर्नमेंट को, और काफी पर एक्शन भी होता है. हम यही चाहेंगे कि इन पर जितना रेगुलरली एक्शन हो सके और जितने हमारे सजेशंस इंप्लीमेंट हो सके, उससे उतना ही बढ़ावा मिलेगा लोकल इंडस्ट्री को और लोकल एम्प्लॉय.
Okay. Mr. Shankar Agarwal, so we've spoken about the critical aspects related to the employment scenario and how to strengthen particularly the sectors that create jobs and will create more jobs in the coming times. But one critical aspect which often gets overlooked is the imbalance in the labor workforce. So if I'm to quote data from the October to December period 2020, the male workforce was 73.6, while the female was just around 20, a little over 20.5%. So how concerning is this, and what needs to be done to sort of tackle this imbalance?
The women employment has been going down continuously for quite some time. And one of the reasons is that because of the high level of literacy now among the women, they do not want to take up jobs which are menial in nature. Earlier, they were willing to do a lot of farm farm work kind of a thing, small work, which was not very respectful. Where the level of literacy, which is improving, and the level of education is also improving, they are not willing to undertake such suboptimal jobs. So now, instead of creating these jobs at the farm level, as I said a little earlier, we have to go in for a little high level of jobs, like maybe assembly. Why can't we induct women, large number of women in assembly units? Like I gave you the example of sensor and the smart devices. It can be done very easily. It's not difficult. That means suppose they had to go from the village to the district headquarters, the bus can take them to the district headquarters. They can work from morning till evening and then they can come back. But if you are expecting them to go to the field and work in the field, it's a little difficult. So that is one part. Second part is that we got to have some kind of a policy regime in this particular area. I personally feel that there must be a reservation for women in every walk of life, including the civil service. Today, there is no reservation for women in the civil service. Why can't be a reservation to an extent of even 50% in the IAS? The moment you do that, there'll be huge empowerment. That is second part. And
absolutely,
third,
and it's
we
very,
got
very
to create
important if we are
manufacturing-
talking about India's growth in terms of economy. Women's participation is very, very vital because we contribute about 50% of the population, and our participation in workforce must actually be also accounted for. So with those valuable suggestions, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of Perspective. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on the program today and sharing your thoughts with us and our viewers. So that's it from us on this edition of Perspective. I'll see you again same time tomorrow with another subject and with a different set of panelists. So until then, take care of yourselves and thank you very much for your time.